Have you ever wondered if a prayer you say actually came directly from heaven? What if I told you there's a prayer revealed by Our Lady herself to a Catholic priest? In a dramatic moment of history, few people know the origin of this powerful invocation, but it exists, and it carries such profound spiritual weight that it could transform your entire prayer life. This prayer is called August Queen of Heaven, or as many know it, August Queen of the Angels. It wasn't written by theologians, it didn't come from books, and it certainly wasn't composed through ordinary human inspiration. It was revealed by Our Lady to a holy priest on January 13, 1864, in response to a sincere cry during a terrifying spiritual vision. Yes, terrifying, because on that day, Father Louis-Édouard Cestac saw in spirit a multitude of demons spreading across the world, attacking families, young people, priests, homes, and souls. Not knowing what to do, he threw himself at Our Lady's feet and begged for help. And then she appeared. With tenderness and authority, the Mother of Heaven gave him a prayer, a cry from God's people to the Queen of Angels, asking her to send forth the heavenly legions to combat evil. This is not just a beautiful prayer. It is a spiritual weapon. Mary did not come merely to comfort. She came to arm her children for battle. The prayer you are about to discover is not just any devotion. It was born from a supernatural revelation, and ever since it has become an invisible shield for those facing hardships, temptations, trials, and anguish. Today, more than ever, in a world overwhelmed by fear, spiritual confusion, and attacks on the faith, Our Lady repeats what she said back then. This prayer is necessary today. In this video, you will discover the mystical story, understand the power of this invocation, and in the end, pray it with me with your whole heart, because there are prayers that change a day, and there are others that change your whole life. To understand the greatness of the prayer, August Queen of the Angels, we must first know the heart that received it, and that heart belonged to a simple, devout man, deeply united with God, Father Louis-Édouard Cestac. Born in France in the city of Bayonne, on January 6, 1801, young Louis-Édouard grew up in a deeply Christian family. From an early age, he showed great spiritual sensitivity, charity toward the poor, and love for the Blessed Virgin Mary. Gradually, his calling to the priesthood became clear. In time, he was ordained a priest, dedicating his life fully to the church. But what made Father Cestac so special was not just his formation or his functions, it was the heart with which he did everything. He lived to serve the abandoned, the marginalized, and the forgotten. His mission focused especially on young women at risk, girls living on the streets, victims of abandonment, exploitation, or prostitution. It was for them that he founded, in 1836, the Congregation of the Servants of Mary. This mission was born with a clear vision: to offer refuge, dignity, love, and opportunity to those the world rejected. Father Cestac had a spirit of constant prayer, a deep love for Jesus in the Eucharist, and a burning devotion to Our Lady. He prayed with his heart and trusted with his eyes closed. It was common for him to spend hours in silence before the Blessed Sacrament, interceding for the souls entrusted to him. And often, people said they felt something different when he spoke or prayed. His presence brought peace. His gaze inspired trust. His life was a silent sermon. But what is most impressive in the story of this man of God is that the more he hid himself, the more heaven chose him. And it was in this hidden life that, on January 13, 1864, during a moment of recollection, Father Cestac had a striking spiritual vision. He saw the world surrounded by demons, spread across all nations, influencing minds, behaviors, and hearts. It was a frightening scene, a true portrait of spiritual chaos. Not knowing how to respond, he turned to Mary, as he always did, and pleaded, "Mother, what must we do?" Then Our Lady appeared to him. According to his account, Mary was serene, firm, and maternal. She looked at the priest and said, "Call upon me as Queen of the Angels." Ask that I send the heavenly armies to combat evil, and teach my people to pray this way. There, before that hidden priest, Mary revealed a prayer, a direct invocation, clear, deep, the prayer we now know as August Queen of Heaven, Sovereign of the Angels. Father Cestac immediately wrote down what he heard, and, obeying the Virgin, began to teach this prayer to everyone. He didn't start large campaigns or draw attention, but little by little the prayer began to spread, through the hearts that needed protection, the hands that fought temptations, and the homes where families sought peace. The prayer became a silent spiritual weapon, and Mary, the Queen of Angels, took command of the battle. It's important to note that years later, this prayer received official ecclesiastical approval, being indulgenced by Pope St. Pius X in 1903. That is, recognized by the Church as valid, safe, and effective. Father Cestac continued his life as always, humble, hidden, serving the poor and adoring God. He died on March 27, 1868, with a reputation for holiness, and with his mission flourishing. And in 2015, he was declared blessed by Pope Francis. His life teaches us something essential. God's greatest instruments are often the simplest ones. He did not seek glory or miracles, but he was faithful, steady, loving, and it was to this heart that Mary entrusted one of the most powerful prayers against the forces of evil. To know the life of Father Cestac is to understand that God still speaks to those who listen, and Mary still reveals paths to those who serve her with love. It was an ordinary day. Father Louis-Édouard Cestac was deep in prayer, as was his custom, but his heart was restless. He could sense, with sorrow, that the world was facing something deeper than social or political crises. There was a growing spiritual darkness. And then, in that silent atmosphere of supplication, God allowed him to see, and what he saw would never leave his soul. Father Cestac had a powerful spiritual vision, demons spreading throughout the entire world, not like the terrifying creatures from movies, but as invisible and active forces, infiltrating homes, institutions, and hearts. He saw evil spreading like smoke, sneaking quietly into families, thoughts, and human choices. It was not a loud evil, but a subtle one, clever, silent, and devastating, disguised as progress, as freedom, as pleasure. And the most heartbreaking part, people were distracted, spiritually asleep, while the enemy advanced quietly, gaining ground. The priest, faced with that vision, felt small. What could he possibly do? A simple priest, against an army of demonic spirits? That's when he fell to his knees and cried out to Mary. Because when the world seems lost, the mother never abandons her children. And in that very moment, Our Lady appeared, calm, strong, and maternal. And she spoke to the priest's heart words that still echo today. Call upon me as Queen of the Angels. Ask me to send the heavenly armies. Teach the faithful to pray, asking for my intercession with this prayer. That moment gave birth to the prayer August Queen of Heaven, a prayer for times of battle, for hearts walking through darkness, for threatened homes, for now. Father Cestac's vision was not just a warning for his own time, it was a prophetic alert for ours, a call to vigilance, and even more, a call to trust in the power of heaven. After the terrifying vision that Father Cestac experienced, with legions of demons spreading across the world, he did not remain paralyzed. He did what the saints do. He knelt down, cried out, and trusted. Faced with human helplessness, he turned to the stronghold of God's people, Mary. With the eyes of his soul lifted to heaven, he pleaded with the Blessed Mother, "Mother, what can we do? How can we fight such evil?" And then, she came, not with shouts, not with visible armies, but with the silent presence that changes everything. Our Lady appeared to Father Cestac. According to the priest's own account, she was radiant with light, her gaze tender yet firm. Her eyes expressed deep sorrow, but also heavenly authority. She said, "These are grave times. Evil is spreading intensely, but the power of heaven is greater. Call upon me as Queen of the angels. Ask me to send the heavenly armies. I will give you a prayer." And then Our Lady dictated the prayer, word by word, like a breath from the Spirit. A simple, direct invocation, but filled with spiritual power. And thus was born the prayer, "August Queen of Heaven and Mistress of the Angels, you who have received from God the power and the mission to crush the head of Satan, we humbly beg you, send the heavenly legions so that, under your command, they may pursue the demons, fight them everywhere, restrain their boldness, and cast them into the abyss." Mary did not come just to console. She came to equip her children, to give them an invisible and effective weapon. The prayer was immediately written down by the priest, and quickly spread among the faithful. From the very beginning, it was used in times of great spiritual distress, oppression, restlessness of soul, persistent temptations, and unseen dangers. It is as if Mary were saying, "Do not be afraid. I am the Queen of the angels, and when you call upon me, I send help from heaven." When we hear or recite the prayer, "August Queen of Heaven," we may not fully realize how powerful and deeply structured it is. It is not just a generic plea for protection. Every word was carefully revealed. Each phrase carries a rich, solid, and effective spiritual meaning. Let us walk through each part of this invocation, with attentive hearts, like one kneeling before a treasure. August Queen of Heaven and Mistress of the Angels. The prayer begins with a title that already brings us to our knees. Mary is Queen, but not only Queen of the people of the Church or of the earth. She is called Queen of Heaven, and even more, Mistress of the Angels. Yes, the very angels, celestial beings, obey Mary. She, who is a creature like us, was elevated by God to a unique position, as Mother of the Incarnate Word, as Queen of all creation. The angels venerate her because they see in her the perfect fulfillment of the divine will. You who have received from God the power and the mission to crush the head of Satan. Here lies the heart of the prayer. Mary was chosen by God for a most special mission, to crush the head of the serpent. This expression directly refers to the prophecy in Genesis 3 verse 15. "I will put enmity between you and the woman. She will crush your head." Mary does not act on her own. She receives from God the power and the mission. She acts in His name with heavenly authority in the fight against the evil that seeks to destroy souls. "We humbly beg you." This phrase shows our posture before the Mother. Humility, trust, and supplication. We do not demand. We do not command. We ask with reverence and love. We know that she hears, that she intercedes, and that her compassion is greater than any battle we face. Send the heavenly legions so that, under your command, here we ask Mary to send the angels on mission. But notice, under your command, Mary is, by God's grace, the commander of the heavenly armies. She directs the angels, guides spiritual actions, and acts as a true mother defending her children with all the strength of heaven. May they pursue the demons, fighting them everywhere. This prayer is not passive. It is active. We ask that the angels pursue evil, not merely to keep it away, but to confront and cast it out. This reveals the confidence we can have in spiritual warfare. We are not alone. Heaven fights with us, restraining their boldness and casting them into the abyss. Finally, we plead that evil be stopped, contained, and defeated, and more, that it be cast into the abyss. That is the final destination of the evil spirits, total separation from God. This prayer reminds us that, no matter how strong evil may seem, it has an end. It will be defeated. And Mary, along with the angels, participates in this victory. At the end of this prayer, many often add, "Who is like God? O Mary, Queen of Angels, send Saint Michael to defend us with the holy angels." This addition echoes the cry of the Archangel Michael in Revelation 12 verse 7. Who is like God?
In Hebreu, Michael.
It is the cry of fidelity, and it is the reminder that evil's power is never absolute. This prayer is not just a collection of beautiful words. It is a spiritual weapon. It was revealed for difficult times, and today it remains more relevant than ever. When we pray it with faith, we join the army of heaven. We place ourselves under the mantle of the Queen and say, "Mary, fight with us, protect us, intercede, send the angels." In every spiritual battle throughout history, God has never abandoned his people. And whenever darkness seemed to spread more intensely, the light of heaven would shine even more clearly. It is within this context that we must understand the power of the prayer, August Queen of Heaven. It is not just a beautiful prayer. It is an answer, a weapon.
À avant-lit intervention.
On January 13, 1864, the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to Father Louis-Édouard Cestac and revealed this powerful prayer, calling the faithful to cry out for the help of angels in the spiritual battle. But there is one striking detail that must be considered here. The year 1864 was also the year when The Gospel According to Spiritism by Allan Kardec was published. This work, despite the name that references Christianity, promotes doctrines contrary to the Catholic faith, such as reincarnation, denial of hell, and even the denial of the full divinity of Jesus. And since its release, it has spiritually influenced thousands of people. Could it be just a coincidence that, during the same time, as such ideas were gaining ground, Our Lady appeared and revealed a specific prayer for combat against evil? Many scholars and devout souls believe it was no coincidence. Some see in the revelation of the August Queen of Heaven prayer a direct response from heaven to the spiritual confusion initiated by this new gospel, which, although it bears the name of Jesus, denies the essential foundations of Christian faith and divine revelation. Pay close attention to the content of the prayer, an invocation of Mary as Queen of Heaven and Mistress of Angels, a plea for the angels to pursue demons and cast them into the abyss, a clear reference to the power given to Mary to crush the head of Satan. These expressions are not symbolic, they point to a real, concrete, spiritual battle. It is as if Our Lady were saying, while the world tries to redefine the gospel, I give you a prayer that will keep you firm in the truth. And this prayer was delivered directly to the Church, approved by a Pope, St. Pius X, recognized as safe, effective, and necessary. From the beginning of the Church, Mary has always been invoked as a powerful intercessor against evil. And here, she fully embraces her role as Queen of the heavenly hosts, not only as a consoling mother, but as a warrior mother, a spiritual commander, who sends the armies of God to protect her endangered children. And why is this so important? Because evil never presents itself as evil. It disguises itself as light, as progress, as new revelation, but it wounds the truth and confuses hearts. That's why, when we pray the August Queen of Heaven, we are recognizing that there is an invisible battle taking place. We do not win it alone, but with heaven's help. Mary, by the will of God, intercedes and acts with real authority. The angels, under Mary's command, come to aid those who cry out with faith. This is not conspiracy theory. It is spiritual discernment. It is viewing history with the eyes of faith. More than that, it is a call to vigilance. Today, we live in an even more confused time. Distorted ideas, alternative spiritualities, mixed doctrines, and the people of God are often asleep. But Mary does not remain silent. She has already given us a weapon, a revealed prayer, a call to battle with the angels. If the August Queen of Heaven prayer was born from a heavenly revelation, it also blossomed through the living experiences of those who prayed it with faith. Over the years, thousands of people, lay faithful, religious, priests, entire families, have testified to special graces, healings, deliverance, and profound spiritual transformations after reciting this prayer. And this is not about magic. It is about authentic faith, united to trust in Mary's intercession and in the help of the angels. One of the most striking testimonies comes from a family in France, living through a true storm, spiritual disturbances, constant arguments, and nightly torments. The mother, after finding this prayer in an old booklet, began praying it daily before an image of Our Lady. Within a few days, The nights became peaceful again. Peace returned to the home, and the teenage son, who had previously refused to go to church, asked to go to confession. Another testimony comes from a missionary in Brazil, working in vulnerable communities. She recalls visiting a home where there was clear spiritual oppression. She felt powerless in the face of the heavy and aggressive atmosphere. So, silently in her heart, she began to recite the prayer, "August Queen of Heaven, send forth your heavenly legions." Gradually, the atmosphere changed. The restless child fell asleep, and the mother of the household began to cry, asking for help to return to her faith. It's not the prayer itself that works the miracle. It is heaven that moves when it finds hearts open and trusting. And Mary, faithful to the mission entrusted to her, sends the angels when we invoke her with faith. In times of darkness, this prayer has been a torch of light. In moments of spiritual oppression, it has served as an invisible wall of protection. If you've prayed and felt nothing, keep going. Spiritual action is not always perceived immediately, but it always happens when we invoke Mary's name with faith. Miracles happen, protection is real, and the help of heaven is within reach for those who pray with trust. Many faithful, upon discovering the August Queen of Heaven prayer, often ask, "When should I pray it? Is there a right time? How can I use this prayer in daily life?" The truth is, there are no rigid rules. This prayer, revealed from heaven, is a spiritual resource for difficult times, and can be prayed at any moment, day or night. However, there are certain moments that are especially fitting, times when the heart is more sensitive, and the soul more in need of heavenly protection. Praying this prayer upon waking places your day under the care of Mary and the heavenly host. It's like putting on spiritual armor to face the challenges ahead. And at night, before sleep, it becomes a shield, protecting your mind, your dreams, your home. Many people suffer from insomnia, restless nights, or spiritual oppression, and many have shared that after including this prayer at bedtime, peace returned. Going through anxiety, family tensions, spiritual unrest, or emotional turmoil, pray with faith. This prayer does not require a specific place or set time. You can pray it in silence, in your car, while walking, kneeling, or standing. It is the cry of one who recognizes that the battle is greater than human strength. When prayed as a family, this prayer gains even more power. It's as if the home becomes a small army, united under the mother's protection. It can be included in the rosary, evening prayers, novenas, or moments of intercession. For those who attend Eucharistic adoration or Holy Mass, this prayer can be offered, asking the angels to prepare your heart, to guard the sacred moment, and to drive away any distractions or spiritual interference. You can pray it out loud or silently, from memory or by reading it. But what matters most is that you pray with faith. It's not the tone of voice that moves heaven, but the trust in your heart. The August Queen of Heaven prayer is not only a defense, it is also an act of surrender. It is saying, "Mother, fight for me, send the angels, and take care of everything I can't control." Not every battle is fought in plain sight. Many struggles take place in the silence of the soul, in the mind, in the heart, in the atmosphere of the home. How many times have you felt a deep restlessness, without knowing where it came from? How many sleepless nights? How many days where the fatigue feels more spiritual than physical? There are moments when everything seems fine on the outside, but inside the heart is at war. Unexplained sadness, sudden bursts of anger, family arguments that arise out of nowhere, negative thoughts, fear, spiritual confusion. These signs may reflect a truth many don't like to admit. There is an invisible battle, a real battle, constant, and we are all in it whether we realize it or not. This isn't superstition. It's the reality of spiritual life. The story of salvation is marked by this tension between light and darkness, and the human heart is the battlefield. The enemy doesn't use swords. He uses distractions, division, and doubt. He doesn't invade with noise. He whispers. He confuses. He sows chaos where there is love. And for this very reason, we need to be protected. The August Queen of Heaven prayer is a direct response to this reality. It's not just a beautiful plea. It is a prayer of authority. When you pray it, you're calling for help from above. You're asking the angels to come, Mary to intercede, and the forces of evil to retreat. It's a prayer of vigilance, of spiritual warfare, of protection. You don't have to understand everything happening around you. You don't have to see what's going on in the invisible realm. But you do need faith. You need to know that you are not alone. Mary is with you, and the angels she commands fight for you. Praying this prayer is like lighting a flame in the darkness. It's like raising a banner that says, I choose to fight with heaven. The enemy wants you to grow weary. Mary wants you to persevere. The enemy wants you to stay silent. Mary wants you to cry out. Never underestimate the power of a prayer said with faith. Even if you don't see anything immediately, something shifts in heaven. Something moves in the invisible. And little by little, you will also see the fruits in the visible world. After everything we've heard, after discovering the origin, the power, and the fruits of this prayer, only one thing remains to be done. Pray. Pray with your heart. Pray with faith even if it feels small. Pray believing that heaven listens. The August Queen of Heaven prayer was not meant to be kept on paper. It was given to be prayed, lived, proclaimed, in every home, in every moment of anguish, of battle, of silence. Now, I invite you to do this with me. If you can, close your eyes, take a deep breath, offer your intention, your pain, your struggle, and repeat with me in faith. August Queen of Heaven and Mistress of the Angels, you who have received from God the power and mission to crush the head of Satan, we humbly beg you, send your heavenly legions, that, under your command, they may pursue the demons, fighting them everywhere, restraining their boldness, and casting them into the abyss. Who is like God? O Mary, Queen of the Angels, send Saint Michael to defend us with the holy angels in battle. Amen. You are not alone. Mary walks with you, and when this prayer flows from your heart, all of heaven moves in your favor. Trust and keep praying.